All right, so what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, man. As you can see, the 923 patch details are here, bringing us 4 brand new uniforms and 2 tier 4 upgrades, in addition to a zombie survival update and revamp. Now, I gotta be honest, this update is kind of lackluster to me. I was hoping for much more. Okay, especially out of zombie survival, I wanted this to be a co-op game mode like Giant Boss Raid. That's the direction I was hoping they were finally gonna take this thing to, but unfortunately, that is not the case. They added some new boss, possibly made a little bit more appealing to some players. The rewards, from what I've seen, are staying kind of the same. The difficulty is being adjusted, but unfortunately, I think this update is a major skip. And I think, honestly, most of the uniform, I would say at least 50% of these uniforms are a skip. Like, I'm looking at Shang-Chi and they gave him super armor and all defense, but they kept the rest of his kit kind of the same as last time. He is being improved. I'm not saying he's not, but they didn't give him penetration in his kit on his third skill, which they should have given him, right? He already has iframe ignore. He has a big heal, which is great, and he still has the reflect, so that's cool. But I don't think this makes him good enough to do anything outside of AC and world boss, right? I was kind of hoping that he would step into the realm of maybe TBA, other world battle, that kind of stuff. I don't think so. Okay, I'm not even gonna mention timeline battle, because these days it's very rare that these characters break into timeline battle if they weren't already an established meta, right? At some point. So sadly, he's not gonna do much for most people. It's really just an update for him if you really like him and you want him to come into the the forefront of the game once again. Now, this is probably the saddest part about this update. Kamala Khan, they're keeping her as a speed hero, fine. However, they had changed her previously to being a human, okay? Now they have changed her back to being an inhuman. This means two things. Let me just go ahead and pull this girl up. This means two things. One, there's an inhuman update coming around the corner, and they've realized that majority of the inhumans in the game currently suck. As you can see right here, her allies right now is hero, right? And then if we swap back to this uniform right here, you'll see that allies are heroes. Sorry, not heroes, humans, right? But if we go back right here, you can see it's inhuman, and then we go back again, right, to this one, it's also inhuman, and then we go back to the base, right? It's, say it with me now, inhuman. So they're going back to basics with her. They've decided to revert her back to being an inhuman. That means there's an inhuman update coming in the works. We've seen that they updated the collector's vault, which is really good. I like it. Okay, I'm waiting for it to actually go live so we can talk about it, but from what they showed in the live stream, it looks pretty cool. It looks like it's a significantly better for collector's vault than we've ever seen. So happy to see that. But a lot of people were hoping that this girl right here would be a free-to-play, savior for them, because of the fact that Luna Snow is one of the most valuable female human superheroes when it comes to ABX and ABL. And I was also thinking that, okay, even if, and it's a big if, right, she's not going to replace Luna Snow as the most valuable female human superhero, at least if you could push to 12 million, then people would invest in her instead of having to spend money to buy a Luna Snow uniform that's multiple years old at this point and at the risk of being replaced. But they've decided that, you know what, we don't want her to even come close to attempting to try, to replace Luna Snow. So we're just gonna get rid of that and just make her inhuman, so she loses all of her established value for ABX and ABL based on the history of the last two uniforms. It's quite sad. So right away, this uniform is a skip for most players. It's really sad to see, but that's honestly what they're saying. They're saying skip Kamala Khan, save your money. She is not gonna have much value for you in ABX and ABL, and since Inhumans don't currently really pop up for what you call it, for World Boss Legend Plus, she has now lost her value there as well. So this is a skip uniform. Shang-Chi, also kind of a skip for most people, unless you're like a super fan of these guys. It is sad to see. Now, one place that she has gained value or regained value is in Dispatch right here on Sector 14-5. If you're one of the people who couldn't clear before using 3 Inhumans, now Kamala Khan will be stronger than ever, so you could combine her with Black Bolt and Medusa, and you should be able to now clear this, as opposed to having to use somebody like Thane, okay? Because not many people have Thane, because he's kind of like an AC character at this point. Okay, so yeah, sad to see, but yeah, Kamala Khan has lost a lot of value, but gained some value in a different piece of content. One that arguably, and it's not arguably, it's not as important. Okay, clearing that one sector, getting that one node. Sure, Dispatch gives you rewards over time and it adds up slowly but surely. But it's not the same value that you could get out of her if she was good enough to, get 10, 12 million in ABL, sad to see. Anyways, moving on. We got Captain Marvel, and this is another one that disappoints me. One thing I do like is the fact that she increases basic damage by 55% when attacking characters without the zombie ability. This is really good. This is what they changed, right? This is a major change, because previously she was taking a lot less damage from super villains. It was actually that. Let me show you guys right here. Boom. So this is what we were looking at before. She was doing 55% extra damage to villains and then taking 50% less damage from super villains. But they've changed it now. They've decided that she's going to take 40% less chain hit damage, decreasing basic damage received by 40% was already here, but they've robbed her of some of her survivability in place of making her hit harder against everyone else that's not a zombie. Now, on one hand, I'm happy because she can now do damage to heroes and villains, 55% extra damage. So she's a lot more offensive, right? But at the same time, she's lost a lot of survivability against arguably the strongest characters in the game, which are super villains. However, because she is now a zombie, you can juice up her survivability by putting her together with Weapon X to give her immortality. Okay, so sure, taking less damage from villains could have kept you alive, but because the villains like Null and others are just so strong, she would have died anyways, especially since she doesn't have penetration, so she would struggle to kill them when they have immunity up, when they have invincibility up. So right now, what you're looking at is, if you want to re-up on her survivability, then you're kind of gonna need you're gonna need Weapon X, man. Weapon X has gained value with this update, again, because we're getting 2 new zombie uniforms, but because of the fact that Captain Marvel has lost some. Where is my girl, bro? Like, I can never find her when I talk about her. It's always when I'm not looking for her. Right here. So because of the fact that she gives you immortality, right here, it says 7 seconds of immortality. It is really, really good, and applies to all of the zombie guys. And then right here, let me show you guys. Over here, we get debuff removal and 45% extra damage to heroes and villains. So if you think about it, 45 plus 55, that's 100% extra damage, which is really good. Then the debuff removal and the immortality, she synergizes perfectly with Captain Marvel because it essentially means she can't die for 7 seconds and she's just gonna dish out a boatload of damage. The problem is, man, a lot of that damage is gonna get blocked because, as you can see, no penetration anywhere to be seen in the kit. It makes me very, very, very sad. By the way, anybody else look at Wanda and think she looks like Droll from Seven Deadly Sins? Like the what you call it? The Giant King. Hold up, let me show you what I'm talking about. All right, so you look at Wanda's portrait and you look at this guy right here. Yeah, he's missing an eye, but if you look at Droll, he kind of like with the hair and stuff, like he legitimately looks like Wanda. Anyways, yeah, just wanted to point that out. Wanda kind of looks like Droll from Seven Deadly Sins, but it may just be me. But I think it's the skin color and the hair. But anyways, let's see. She's also one that kind of disappointed me. Not gonna lie, she has penetration in the kit, right? Base kit, but no iframe ignore. It's sad, bro. Like every single one of these characters are missing something that would make them significantly better. Like Captain Marvel, it's the penetration. The Kamala Khan, it's the human tag that would make her better for World Boss or more useful for World Boss and ABX ABL. Shang-Chi, it's penetration. And in the case of Wanda, it would be iframe ignore, right? Now, they tweak some stuff around, but we're going to test Wanda in game once the uniform drops so we can see the actual value of it. However, I'm thinking this uniform was made for ABL specifically to further move Jean out of the meta. I think the old uniform for Wanda is still going to be required for ABX on Saturdays for the Universal female superhero and just universal superhero in general until we get Medusa. Now, if you don't have the old uniform for Wanda, tread cautiously. Okay, tread cautiously, young one, because with Medusa coming and possibly remaining as a female universal superhero, it might finally be her time and she might actually replace Scarlet Witch for ABX. All right, so that might be the reason why they, didn't have a problem transforming her into a super villain. Okay, so keep that in mind. So looking at Wanda's kit, again, looks like it's gonna need some testing in game. Shang-Chi's tier 4 is okay. Kamala Khan, the tier 4 looks really good. It's the same thing that Luna has again, which is another reason why it irks me that they changed her from being a human to inhuman. Like on one hand, I'm happy for the inhuman characters because they're so bad, right? It's Karnak, it's Maximus, it's all them guys are just really bad, bro. So like again, robbing them of a character as strong as Kamala Khan makes the tag even weaker, right? Makes it so that you're wondering why do they even exist. So on one hand, I'm happy she's going back to the inhuman class to make them a little bit, bring their stock up a little bit. But at the same time, because they had already changed her to human and we've already seen the value that she offered as a human, it's kind of, kind of gives you that feeling in your gut of disgust, the disdain of like hope that was there that is now taken away from you, So kind of sucks. We got 3 new artifacts, 3 new transcended characters. Transcended them is basically just for story mode in Shadowland. They, as you can see, revamped the way how zombie survival works. We'll touch on it when it goes live. Some of the changes I like. The artifacts, all 3 of them are actually decent. Right, we got the Giga Dodge, we got damage reduction for heroes and villains, and we got increased villains and heroes for these guys. All of them are actually, I would say, a little bit above average. Yeah. Personally, I don't like any of these artifacts. I'm sorry, not artifacts. These icons that much, to be honest. Like one that looks creepy as fuck, right? But I don't personally see myself chasing any of these, even using any of these. Captain Marvel just kind of looks lame, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, that's just me. And then the hot deals are coming back. One change here that I actually really like is this one. All right, before, let me show you in game how this actually works. So before, when you were clearing world boss and you're trying to, like, you know, unlock the stages and stuff, you'd have to use specific characters on your team. Like for example, right here, I'm trying to unlock stage 30, right? So it requires that I use Blue Dragon and whatnot. And because of that, I would be forced to tier 4 Blue Dragon if I didn't already have her, right? Now you can actually set them as your striker, which is really, really good, because now, let me just go here and do that, because you can put them here, which means you don't have to tier 4 them anymore. You no longer have to tier 4 bad characters to unlock stages in World Boss Legend Plus, which is absolutely fantastic, because as you can see right here, you before had to include them in the participating heroes. Now they can actually be included in the allied heroes, or ally heroes, right? This is the page right here when you're setting your strikers. They could have just said strikers, to be honest, to make it a little bit more simplistic. But this is absolutely amazing, because some of these stages require that you tier 4 people like Professor X. And, you know, like for me, I skipped over Human Torch for so long that I no longer need him anymore. And there's a lot of stages that actually require him, and that's gonna save you a lot of crystals. I'm surprised that they went back and did this, right? Like right here, this one, what does it require? Odin. And I'm saying, I was even thinking about tier 4 Odin, because again, I want to save what little crystals, you know, well, I have a lot of crystals, but whatever. The little bit of crystals that it costs each time slowly adds up if you have to do this all the way up to stage 99. Like some of them require that you tier 4 Echo and all those other people, bro. Like, again, they're AC characters, bro. I don't want to actually tier 4 them, because I'm not getting much value out of them. Like, I can tier 4 certain characters if they're weak, if they're a support, right? Or if I like them. But some of them I don't like. You know what I'm saying? That's that shit I don't like. Anyways, so I'm happy to see this change. This is a major change. I think this is honestly one of the underrated changes of this update. It's one of the best changes of this update. Yeah, besides that, speech bubble being added to giant boss raid, it's kind of rose me the wrong way when I wanted zombies, so I want to play like like GBR. But they need to put that press the goddamn button as a speech bubble. You know what I'm saying? And nothing's more irritating when you have that one person in there not pressing the co-op button and they're doing like next to no damage. You're the person doing 1% and they're, I know they're new to the game. I don't want to shit on them. They're new, bro. They're new. They're new. Okay. Anyways, man, I'm out. Leave me your thoughts in the comments. I think this update is mid, but you know, when we get a banger like Mephisto that eats a lot of materials, we kind of need these mid updates so we can save mats. Okay, so look at this not in the sense that, oh, these characters are trash, these uniforms are trash. You just look at this like, all right, I can skip over these uniforms until Black Friday, because Black Friday is gonna have a lot of shit that you require crystals for, and now you can skip over some tier 4s to save for Mephisto, you know, or finally build Mephisto, if you know, like that kind of stuff, right? All right, I'll catch you guys in the next one though.